Welcome into the Scoop Inside Carolina and UNC's premier football recruiting podcast. We are back after a multi-month hiatus. The Scoop is brought to you by Johnny T-Shirt and JohnnyT-Shirt.com. I'm joined as always by Don Callahan. Before we get into Don and the schedule for today's podcast, I want to encourage you to rate, review, and subscribe. Go to wherever you listen to your podcasts. It takes 1 minute. Put down a 5-star rating. Tell us what you like, what you don't like about the podcasts. Tell us about how funny you think Don looks. Anything. Write a review. Give us a comment or review. Rate it, and then subscribe. Hit the mash button so every morning you get the podcast right in your feed and you listen to them on your commute. All right, Don, what's up, man? It's been a while. I haven't heard your voice or seen your face in like 2 months.
Yeah. Ross hasn't wanted to do any of these podcasts, so I haven't been getting a whole lot of Ross time. I actually hope that some Wake Forest fans rate and review this podcast.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why we say that. Well, we haven't done a podcast because there's been no news primarily. I mean, there's been no commitments. We did one after the offensive lineman committed. What was his name?
Diego Pounds.
Diego Pounds, right?
Wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was September. We did one, I think, though, like a couple days after that. So that was our last podcast, I believe. Diego Pounds commitment. So
yeah. September was our last podcast. So what has Ross been up to? I know you've been going to the games and avoiding Corona and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been
and voting. Did you vote?
What?
And voting.
Did you vote?
I did vote.
Who'd you vote for?
Ask my Twitter followers.
If you want to ask Don who he voted for, DM him on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, it's been all football, dude. It's been you do press conferences on Monday, and then you work all Monday, player interviews on Tuesday, work all Tuesday, Mac Brown on Wednesday, work all Wednesday, kind of Thursday, you finally kind of catch your breath. And I've been taking Fridays off. Don't tell anybody, but I mean, you kind of get your stuff done on Friday mornings, and then that's what I kind of like about it, because you work all Saturday and I work a lot of Sunday mornings now. And so Friday afternoon's been taken off, getting to the mountains, going to the beach, different things, chilling, hanging out. So got a kind of rhythm going now. Bye week right now, and then back to the grind with Notre Dame on Friday for Thanksgiving. I'm doing a lot of basketball stuff right now, basketball preview stuff. UNC takes on College of Charleston on November 25th, which is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So it's kind of that crossover season, a little bit different because of the later start of basketball. That's it. How about you, man? How are your Philly sports teams?
Well, they haven't played probably since our last podcast.
Eagles?
I'm not an Eagles fan.
Oh, yeah.
So, but they suck.
What else is new for Philly sports?
Anyway, I'm not even going to go there. But yeah, I mean, my busyness is a little bit different. I've had camps. As Ross is messing with his chest,
I'm trying to figure out. I mean, I don't know if I should do.
I've had camps almost every Sunday for the past couple of months. I have one more or two more actually this weekend, and then I'm probably done for a couple of weeks with the camp stuff, which has been good, seeing recruits, 7-on-7 stuff, and all that sort of stuff. But you mentioned bye week. I was actually on the radio show last week and was talking to Tommy about maybe having some sort of Inside Carolina Mantower get together for Saturday. We'll have to see if it can work out, and we could do some coronavirus protocols so that nobody gets sick.
Yeah, I won't be in town this weekend, so no Mantower for me.
Ross, always leave it. Ross complains about all this work he does, but yeah, he's always on vacation.
Dude, it's not vacation. We have a bye week. I'm not going to work on a Saturday where UNC doesn't play. What are you talking about? All right, let's get into it. Enough chit chat. You don't really care that much about Don's life. Okay, pretty big show, actually. We lined up a interview with Keeshawn Silver, UNC's 5-star defensive lineman recruit. That is coming soon. Keeshawn Silver, he's going to hop on here in about 15 minutes, 10 minutes based on what we talk about here. We're going to talk about UNC's dead period, and we're also going to talk about some news. South Carolina head coach Will Muschamp was let go, relieved of his duties on Sunday, and that shakes up recruiting for North Carolina and for a lot of area teams, SEC schools. I mean, they had a pretty good recruiting class going, and definitely some targets for UNC, including defensive end linebacker George Wilson out of Virginia and Georgia quarterback Gunnar Stockton were all committed to South Carolina. Stockton's a 22 kid.
22.
So he has been a big quarterback target for UNC. So Tar Heels likely get back in on him. Anything else we're going to talk about, Don?
We're going to end this podcast with the top 5 that we've been hinting at for a couple of months now. Top 5 comedies of the 90s movies, which was kind of fun to do and very difficult actually. So,
yeah.
And then you want to give the next top 5 since it was your idea?
Yeah, the next top 5 is going to be your top 5 animals. And you have to explain why. You can't just list the animal. You have to explain why. I want to see some weird answers. I mean, I don't know if y'all have some fetish stuff or whatever, but list why you are into these animals. Don, what's your favorite animal? Let's get one of your top 5 right now as a teaser.
Ooh, I'm gonna think about this, but I'm a big fan of the spider monkey or the howling monkey. Howling monkeys are pretty cool. I'm a big I don't think I've ever talked about this. I'm a big Naked and Afraid fan.
Jeez, all right, easy.
If I gotta do some work,
put earplugs in your kid.
Hey, no, this is a family show that's on regular television. So,
I thought your favorite animal would be like a sloth or like an elephant seal.
Sloth's pretty cool because they only poop once a week. You know, it's a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's an example. Why do you like spider monkeys?
I don't know. Just because.
Do you remember that guy emailed us and told me to let you speak, or let you? That was so funny.
We gotta get to these topics.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into it. We got Keeshawn Silver coming in here quickly. He's gonna hop on the Zoom call in a little bit. All right, South Carolina, Don. So that news happened, and that's our article today, kind of about different targets. And obviously, there's a lot of people going after George Wilson and Gunnar Stockton. And Bryson Nesbitt, for that example, I just saw what you wrote down. Bryson Nesbitt has been a UNC target, a South Carolina target. So it definitely switches up his recruitment, and he remains uncommitted. The 2021 tight end and UNC's, I believe, only tight end target for the 21 class. Don, the floor is yours. Why don't you start with George Wilson and Gunnar Stockton, and then we'll get into Bryson Nesbitt.
All right. So with George Wilson, I think we have a huge, I don't want to say huge, but we have a detailed update on just kind of the latest information on the situation in today's, well, depending on when you're listening to this, Weekly Scoop on Tuesday breaks it down. So I won't go into too much detail, but just for some background, he was initially one of the, or right after Zaire Patterson committed to Clemson, George Wilson was offered, and he was the guy that UNC wanted to be their outside linebacker rush position guy for this class. And he ended up, really, it was at the 11th hour, basically. It was the Friday before his announcement. He ended up, it leaked out that it was going to be South Carolina. For the longest time, everyone kind of just assumed it was going to be North Carolina because of Tony Grimes, because of North Carolina's success in the Tidewater area. So obviously, he committed to South Carolina. UNC moved on and added Trayvon Stevenson. But yeah, it appears that there is maybe some smoke in that area. But I urge everybody to look a little bit closer. If you want more closer information on that, to read the Weekly Scoop. As far as Gunnar Stockton is concerned,
let me stop you there. All right,
go ahead.
So UNC took a commitment though at that position in Trayvon Stevenson. So explain to that, because I mean, obviously, you want to be loyal to the guys who commit to you, but do they have another scholarship available? Is that kind of what's going on?
Yeah. So Stevenson's safe. Stevenson actually, going back to a scoop a couple months ago, breaking down his situation. North Carolina actually had Stevenson ranked higher on its board than George Wilson, and actually tried to offer Stevenson before George Wilson was offered. But Stevenson at that time was committed to Pitt and said, thank you, but no thank you. There's a whole Weekly Scoop kind of dedicated to breaking down that whole situation. I know Stevenson is ranked significantly lower than George Wilson, but that's, North Carolina's board doesn't always match up with 24/7 sports rankings. As far as George Wilson, the scoop goes into detail. This week's scoop goes into detail about that. But yeah, I mean, there are some scholarship number considerations that need to be made to determine. I mean, it's not as simple as he's a 4-star, let's add him. I mean, North Carolina has, definitely in the past couple of years, North Carolina has basically told a 4-star, we just don't have space for you. And there's a bunch of different examples of that. So it's no guarantee that UNC will pursue him. But there's definitely a possibility.
Keeshawn Silver has entered the Zoom room. So I'm going to let him in here.
Okay.
And then we'll jump back when we're done with this Keeshawn interview. We're going to get right into we'll talk about Gunnar Stockton, we'll talk about Bryson Nesbitt, and we'll close with the top 5. So stay tuned right here, and we'll bring on 5-star Keeshawn Silver. Welcome back to The Scoop, UNC's premier football recruiting podcast. We have a very special guest now. We're bringing on UNC commitment 5-star defensive lineman Keeshawn Silver from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. How's it going, Keeshawn?
Going good. How are you?
Great. We're going to send it to Don for our first question and get going here.
Yeah, so Keeshawn's been committed since March, really, right before the coronavirus kind of hit and everything. Considering that, now I know that you obviously couldn't foresee that the coronavirus was going to happen and basically take away all your visits. Do you look back and think, man, I made a pretty good decision getting it out of the way, and because I wasn't going to be able to take visits anyway?
I mean, through the steps, I would have never thought COVID would have hit. So, I was thinking about taking other visits across the world while I was still committed. This is a once in a lifetime, so might as well just live it. So, I'm glad I committed early because I visit Callahan a lot. So, yeah.
Can you take us into that moment when you committed? I know you were on campus for a basketball game, and then I was at that basketball game, and I saw you there. And then next we know, like, you're all of a sudden a Tar Heel, like, late at night. Don was asleep, actually, when you committed, and I had to write the article. Ben and I did. So can you tell us what happened in that moment to make you commit when you did?
I was just getting highly recruited, and it's like it started getting nagging. Like, it's like every coach is from a different school. They tell me stuff I wanted to hear, but it was just like Callahan just spoke out more from like Alabama, Auburn, Florida, all those type schools. And Callahan stuck out the most. And it's just like, I love it here. It's not a reason that I want to come here. I know it's in the ACC. I can play in the ACC. Ain't nothing wrong with that, even though I could be a SEC development player. But I just thought at night, I just got to myself and just started thinking. I was like, man, I think it's time. So I just committed at night. I was like, I don't want to make no video or nothing. I just want to go and commit.
Well, I remember that you told me that you actually, you were kind of leaning that way, and then you had some wings. So, and that kind of sealed the deal for whatever reason. Where did you get those wings from, and what flavor? How were they cooked?
Them things were banging. I don't know. They were like, they were like barbecue. Had a little hot wings right there. They're spicy. I forgot the name on them. Them things off the chain right there. That's still the deal.
Are you flats or drumstick guy?
I like flats. I don't know why. I just like to just take the meat off of it. It's just simple.
And what about ranch or blue cheese?
Ranch, blue cheese.
I'm a blue cheese guy.
I'm a ranch.
I like ranch too, but I prefer blue cheese.
I don't like blue cheese.
Okay. So is there anything the coaches said to you that night that kind of flipped it for you? And obviously you had conversations with Mac Brown, probably Jay Bateman, maybe Tim Cross. Was there anything in particular that kind of in that moment made you realize that UNC was the pick?
It's just like little things like they ask how the family, and then they make sure like they ask my coach like, do Keeshawn have homework? And it's just like them little things, like that stands out from like the other schools, and like Callahan showed the most love. And it's just like I couldn't leave Matt Brown. I couldn't leave Coach Cross. It's just our connection. It's like we knew each other for years, but we just build.
The one thing I remember was that you were scheduled to visit Florida the following weekend. And from what I gathered after the fact, the UNC coaches were aware of those rumors, whether they were true or not, and were like, all right, if he leaves here without committing, we could be in serious trouble. Did you was it true that there was a chance that you could have committed to Florida that following weekend? And also, did you feel a little bit of pressure, like North Carolina was definitely wanting to get you committed before you left?
Me and Florida had a good connection, but it wasn't like Carolina. I ain't gonna answer that last question you asked. That's a tough one. But Carolina showed me something, and Florida showed me something. But it was just like it was 50-50, and Carolina won. So I ain't gonna answer that last question. That's a tough question.
Well, so you were the first commitment of this big string of commitments for UNC. I believe Was Drake May next that Friday?
Yeah.
And then someone committed Saturday, and I think Eli
Kobe Paysour.
Sutton, Kobe Paysour, then Eli Sutton. And now we kind of get into this 2021 class. I mean, what was the plan there? Did you know that was happening? What was going on behind the scenes with the string of like big time commits committing all in 1 week? And they kind of carried on into the spring and summer.
Honestly, the day I committed, me and Coach, we had a conversation. It was like, man, I can do things somebody else couldn't do, and I can like prove myself to the world. And it's like that night when I had committed, not in the night, the day before I committed, I had text Drake. Man, I was like, with the eye emojis, like, where we going? I know, like, no offense, I just knew he wasn't gonna stay at Carolina because like his legacy is at Carolina. I mean Alabama, because his legacy is at Carolina. So I mean, I text him, I hit him with the eye emojis, like, where we going? And I don't know, you tell me where we going. So I was like, man, I'm about to commit to Carolina tonight. He said, all right, I'll be waiting. So I just committed. Well, I said I was gonna commit the next day, but I couldn't control myself. So I just went ahead and committed. I couldn't wait, so I had to.
Okay, and then I know Don was talking about the group chat. I mean, how is this kind of the development of the 21 class? How'd that kind of work? So you're vocal on social media in kind of connecting these guys. Can you kind of go into your role with convincing a lot of these guys to pull a trigger and commit to UNC and become part of the 21 class?
It depends, because like I can't just recruit a dude that Coach doesn't want.
Yeah.
So when Coach give me the green light, then I go push up on him, make sure everything's good. Check up on him, and then I just apply pressure, because if Coach like him, of course I'm gonna like him. And then when we build, we're gonna be good. So, yeah.
So Ross kind of alluded to the group chat that you and I actually talked about a couple of weeks ago. We did a whole story on it, and it was funny because Dontavius got at me afterwards and was even kind of sticking firm, saying that your story wasn't 100% true. Can you just tell people just what the group chat is like? Just kind of sum it up. What goes on in there? Everything
goes on in that group chat. So, my bad. This is a powerful group chat. You got more than one race, and that's the best thing to be, because you're not just around like your race, you're around like other particular races, and like just building with like another person. Just connecting. Because like for instance, like, okay, we like listen to rap music, they like listen to country music. We might just band up together, just listen to country music too. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like I feel like that group chat right there just made it come closer and have a great connection with each other. So, and when we meet in person, it's just gonna be like we knew each other for years. So we good.
Who's the funniest guy in the group chat?
Me, of course. Stand-up comedian. I do this.
Who's second best?
Second,
who's second funniest?
Man, that's tough right there. Let me think. That boy Gabe Stevens. No. Caleb Hood.
Caleb Hood. That's surprising. Caleb Hood's so quiet and just like one-word answers. The other guy I heard is pretty funny is Dontavius, who when I deal with him, he's very, I mean, he's not like one-word answer sort of thing, but he's just very like straight and, not goofing around with me at all.
It's between Dontavius, Caleb Hood, and Gabe Stevens. That's like the funniest dudes I know. And okay. Diego, oh my God, Diego Powell.
Okay.
All right,
Diego
a lot of
Well, there was something the other night, might have been last night, where you made a mention on Twitter about some stuff that was going down in the group chat. Was that your group chat? Was it a different group chat that you were talking about?
What was it about?
Just something was making you weak. If I remember.
Oh, man, somebody hacked my account, and then I like, bro, they call Eli a hillbilly. That threw me off. Like, bro. And then they say you're like Joe Dirt. I'm like,
okay. Let's get back on track here. What's Drake May like? I mean, he's obviously the quarterback. He's a guy a lot of people are interested in. It seems like you're pretty close to him. What's Drake May like as a person? Maybe stuff we don't know about him.
Cool, laid back dude. He's a good person to be around. Behind scenes, he's a goofy. He's just goofy. Like, he's a good person, but he's mature at the same time, though. You know what I'm saying? He have his moments. And then I can't really say too much about him because, we haven't met face-to-face, but when we meet face-to-face, then I have more. I said, he's a good person, though.
Isn't that weird that a lot of you guys have not met in person at all?
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's like we know each other, like we knew each other for years. And it's like we just met each other, for real, really.
It's like texting a girl on online dating, and you don't even know what.
You
don't know her personality, but you've been texting with her for months. I don't know. I don't really know about that from experience, though. Don might.
Come on now.
I'm married. All right. So,
all right, let's get into football here. You've been watching UNC play and everything. What do you think about what y'all can bring to the defensive line and the future of this defensive line? They got a lot of freshmen this year. You are also coming in along with, the guy from Kernersville, Don, or Winston-Salem.
Jafari Ritzy.
Jafari Ritzy. What do you think about the future of UNC's defensive line?
I feel like when we get coached up and better, we're good players in high school, of course, but when we get to the next level, when we get coached, I feel like we're going to be great players. We got size. We're coming in like 275 already at 6'5". And, like, when we put on muscle and learn the play calling, I feel like we can add a lot to the defense,
What do you think you bring in particular as a player?
As a player?
Yeah, football-wise.
Football-wise, enthusiasm, strength, speed. I could just move it around. And I can go from a speed rusher to a power rusher. I can call out. Like with me, I see things. So like if I see something not right, then I'm gonna call it. And then I know I can call the plays up sometimes.
And I mean, I'm sure Don knows this, but where do they want you playing exactly? What has Jay Bateman and Tim Cross said your position is going to be? Are you more on the outside, inside? Can you kind of get into your position at UNC?
I've been talking about like a three down, 3-eye, and a 5-eye. So they're gonna move me around a little bit. It's not gonna be a particular DN. I might go inside, might go outside, might stand up some, might be hand in the dirt. Just gotta wait till times come.
I'm interested.
Fix that flexible role within the defensive line. I think that Bateman likes to use. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, so I'm really interested in where you feel like your development is at, because I mean, you're going to be a guy, unlike a lot of other guys, who heads into college without playing your senior season. So where are you at? I mean, what are you doing to kind of stay in shape and to work on your technique? Because I'm sure it's hard because you won't be competing.
I mean, I haven't made contact in a year, so I'm fragile right now. Right now, I just, I come work out with basketball, first, then I go lift, and then I go to the field. So that's my daily routine. The only thing that's gonna hurt me and damage me probably is just making contact. That's probably gonna be the fragile thing, but at the same time, I'm gonna get used to it over time again. So yeah,
that's a crazy thing. I mean, that's a good point, Don. The fact that a lot of these freshmen won't be playing much football before they get into campus, so you have to kind of adjustment period, and along with just the strength and conditioning and training like that stuff as well. You got anything else, Don, on that?
Yeah, with as far as that decision, I mean, obviously all along you wanted to be an early enrollee, but once the season was moved to February, was it just like, hey, I don't care, I'm enrolling early, or was there any hesitation where you were like, well, maybe I should stay and just play my senior year with my friends?
That was the hardest decision I ever made, I'll probably say, because it's like I'm never probably gonna see these guys again. And at the same time, after high school, people go their different ways. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss the guys and miss my team and the people that I was surrounded by. But it's like, I can't waste this one opportunity, because what happens if I get hurt during the season? Keeshawn going to have a damaged career. He have a beaten up career. So it's like, I got to be smart during the situation. And it's like, I had to just go. I got to go for it. It's not I'm not being cocky or arrogant. It's just a smart move that I had to talk out with family and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, you got to do what's best for you, what you think is best for you.
Have they told you anything about when you're enrolling exactly and what the plan is? Are they giving you a workout plan, anything like that?
I can't say too much, but they gave me some, like, what days we coming. I think we're supposed to have official if the NCAA violates, so I think we'll be good.
Okay, yeah, and I guess all that happens kind of after you sign as well. All right, Keeshawn, a couple more questions though. Basketball. You kind of made some big news when you said you're going to walk on to the basketball team. What's going on with that situation? What happened to make that happen?
I don't know. It just happened. Hold on.
I paused there.
Yeah, live.
Get out. My bad.
All right, he's back. Yeah, so basketball, what happened there?
I grew up a basketball player at first. I can't stop playing basketball. It's like, even if I'm not 100% good, it's like I'm gonna play my part. So it's like I can play both sports, and like I just know people gonna doubt me because of my height. But it's like, man, I went against. All right, so instance in Stockton, I went against like 6'11" people, and it's not as bad as you would think. You get what I'm saying? It's not as bad as you would think. Like, I can guard a 6'11" person. Like, I wouldn't play my job. That's why, me and Roy, sometimes we talk on the phone. I just let him coming in for rebounds, defense. And then whenever points just come, I'm just trying to score it. But other than that, I'm kick the ball out to whoever needs it.
Yeah, so how'd that happen? Did you reach out to Roy? Did Mac Brown reach out to Roy? How did that conversation go to the point where they were going to offer you kind of a preferred walk-on spot?
All right, so this is how it happened. What game was it? What's the game that I went to that day? It was like Miami, I would say. Was it Miami?
I think so.
Yeah, it was us. The coach was like, "You want to go talk to Roy?" I said, "Of course, why not?" And then he was like, I guess he heard of me or something like that, but it's not like, Caleb, everybody like that. So I went into his office and it's Roy Williams. I'm nervous a little bit. So my question in my mind that I always wanted to ask him was, can I play basketball here? And then he was like, my coach was like, ask him. Nah, man, he gonna say no. He said, nah, ask him. I said, so coach, I said, just I'll let coach, can I do you mind if I walk on here? I'll play basketball. He said, of course. That right there, man. Oh my God, that right there just shocked me because he gave me a chance to play. So if I walk on and do what I got to do, then I'll be on the team. But if things don't work out, then just football always gonna be there for me.
Yeah, and given your size and your height and your weight, you're going to be a great practice player for the bigger guys to go against someone who's strong and physical and kind of plays basketball a different way. Because I'm sure you're a banger down low.
Yeah, I'm a defensive specialist. Like I know I can read where you're going, and then like when you jump, I'm gonna jump with you. It's like it's no fear. So it's like I just play ball, like ball on the ground, sliding for it. I just play ball. I'm not afraid to. What I'm saying? Afraid to get dirty. That's me.
That's Don's motto too. Don's not afraid to get dirty.
Come on now.
Right,
so
ahead,
I wanted to ask you about Jay Bateman. I know he was a big part of your recruitment, and we kind of know him as this, I guess, like a weird scientist sort of football coach. What's been your perspective on him?
Smart. I heard somebody was talking one time. He was like, he called the dumbest plays one time, but it always worked. And it's like when you start to look at it, like he's a good person, but it was like he just called crazy plays and it works. Like he just put crazy defensive in and it worked. So I was like, I like Coach Bateman. I like him a lot. And then, like Coach Bateman is like a one-on-one person. Like he's a good person. He's a goofy person. And then he's that person that will get down on you. I'm saying he's a family person. So, yeah, I like Coach Bateman a lot.
Good stuff. All right, Keeshawn, unless Don has any more questions, I think that's about it, man. We touched on a lot of different things from your recruitment to basketball to your role next year at UNC. We appreciate you coming on. Don, you good?
Yeah, I just want to thank Keeshawn for coming on. We had a craziness. We had the weather last week made it difficult. We weren't able to meet up last week, so I'm glad it all worked out. We had Keeshawn on as a guest.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, I look forward to covering you when you get to UNC. Good luck with the rest of, the school year, and we'll see you in Chapel Hill soon.
I appreciate you.
All right, see you, man.
I see you.
Right.
And now we want to talk to you about Johnny T-shirt and JohnnyT-shirt.com. Don, when it gets cold outside, what do you want to put on?
A Johnny T-shirt jacket.
There you go. Sweatshirts, jackets, the colder weather's coming. I actually am going to ask for a Johnny T-shirt toboggan or hat. What do you call those ski cats? What do you call those, Don?
Toboggan.
You call them toboggan? That's a very regional North Carolina thing.
Maybe it's just has attached to me somehow,
Okay.
that term.
Yeah, good job, Don. You're killing the read here. Johnny T-shirt and JohnnyT-shirt.com is Inside Carolina's loyal podcast sponsor. They help us do what we do here, so we want you to make sure you support them. Use the 10% off discount code on the Inside Carolina message boards to get all you need. Get the 10% off, a big purchase. Shop for every gift. Get your sister, brother, mom, dad, niece, nephew, cousins. Get them all a T-shirt, a sweatshirt, a hat. There's tons of little trinkets and gifts, all UNC-themed stuff. You really can go on that website, check it out. You get kitchenware, tailgating stuff, posters, pictures. It's really not just T-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff, but they have everything you need. Johnny T-shirt and JohnnyT-shirt.com. They're right in Chapel Hill on Franklin Street and online at JohnnyT-shirt.com. And make sure if you're an Inside Carolina subscriber, you have a 10% off discount code that can really make a difference on big purchases. All right, we'll be back to talk about Bryson Nesbitt the quarterback commitment who decommitted from South Carolina, and of course our top 5 90s comedies. And we're back. Don, that was a great interview with Keeshawn Silver. What'd you think about it?
I liked it. I have an interesting story, I guess, just about him. I thought about bringing it up, but figured I didn't really have a question for him within that. But I remember the first time I met him was actually his coach. I was going to the high school to see Shaheem Battle, who ended up at NC State. North Carolina had offered him. And on my way there, his coach called me and said, "Hey, I hate to do this to you, but do you mind interviewing this other guy, this younger guy I have, who I think is going to be really, really good?" I said, "All right, well, tell me about him." And he'd only played JV. He was a couple years younger, all this sort of stuff. This happens to me actually a lot, but I'd say probably 95% of the time, if not more, they end up being a kid who may be like a good FCS kid, but not a 5-star guy. So, so imagine my surprise when I pull up and the coach comes to meet me. He actually came out of the gym and has this massive human being who's only a freshman at the time walking out. Talked to him a bunch. It wasn't a whole lot because he didn't have a whole lot of buzz. And but great kid. We talked a bunch in the years that followed, and it was kind of neat because I kind of was there from when his recruitment was kind of before he was like a big time recruit to when his recruitment was kind of taken off. And I know that for the longest time he really coveted a UNC offer, and he received one on a during a junior day. The coaches just needed to kind of look at him. So I know he was super excited for that. So I knew UNC had a great shot at him, and obviously that's where he ended up.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a huge recruit, not just because of his ranking and his ability, but when he committed was important. The fact that he is an in-state guy that UNC secured, a 5-star, that evolved to a 5-star guy, which is obviously good for appearances and for that recruiting ranking, which can impact the future of the team and everything. Is he a special? You think he's a special player, going to make an impact pretty early?
Yeah, I've always been a huge fan of his. I just feel like just his athleticism and his size, that sort of combination, and that's because of his basketball background, as we talked about a bunch. It's just uncanny. I mean, the coaching staff with good coaching, he's going to be able to develop. Really, I mean, he's a 5-star guy, so he should develop into a first-round draft pick, and I really believe that he has the tools to do that.
Yeah, and you can tell personality-wise. I mean, he seems like a sharp kid. Seems like he has the right motivation, and pretty confident. Obviously, pretty confident guy in his abilities, and so he'll come in and. I mean, he's already huge. It seems like he's pretty, like he's not fat, No, he's a slender dude. He's athletic build, and so they'll put some good weight on him. He'll probably play like at 290, something like that, 280, 290 as like a defensive end type guy. Is that kind of strong side defensive end type deal?
Yeah, I expect him to be. He mentioned it a little bit, but I think he'll be that 4-eye position. Similar to what now I'm going like Tamari Fox is playing.
Yeah. It's so weird now with the defensive line for UNC because it's so different than the traditional kind of nose guard, tackle, 2 ends. It's so versatile.
Well, and even with that being such a weird sort of defense, Bateman switches things like crazy. Just if you look at what they did against Wake Forest, as far as who they played at what positions, it was just completely contrary to what he's done previously. And that's how Bateman is.
Yeah, he wants to keep you guessing on where kind of the best players are and where they're going to be coming from. Okay, good stuff, Keeshawn. We really appreciate him coming on. That was a great interview. Let's get back into where we were before Keeshawn came on. Gunnar Stockton, obviously, he remains committed to South Carolina.
Yes.
As of right now.
As of this recording.
Yeah, what's going on with his recruitment and where UNC kind of comes in?
So he is one of 4 or 3 or I guess it's 4 now, 2022 quarterbacks that UNC has offered. Coach Longo has a long relationship with him. So that was obviously working in UNC's favor. But when it came time to narrow things down, he narrowed it down to 2 schools. It was Georgia and South Carolina, and he obviously committed to South Carolina. There were 2 main reasons why he picked South Carolina. One is the relationships. I'd have to look up my notes, but it's something along the lines where his high school coach, his brother, is Connor Shaw, who was a quarterback at South Carolina and also works in the recruiting department. And then his personal quarterback coach is the father of Bobo, who is the offensive coordinator of South Carolina. So there's a lot of connections there, which obviously just help. I mean, close connections. You don't get much closer, other than parents. You don't get much closer than high school coach and the personal quarterback coach. In addition to that, he wanted the opportunity to play as soon as possible in South Carolina. One of the reasons why that they're looking for a new high school head coach is because they were never able to establish a quarterback this season and really last season either. Yeah. And so there's plenty of opportunity for a quarterback to play. So and I know a lot of people are going to think, okay, well, North Carolina was in that group. He has a good relationship with Longo and all that. I don't know if I see that happening, that marriage coming about, because of the fact that North Carolina doesn't have an easy path to the starting quarterback role. You have Sam, who's obviously going to be there at least one more season, maybe beyond that, depending on what happens. And then you have Jacoby Cresswell, who's a 4-star, who there's still buzz going on about him in practices. And then you have Drake May, who, is Drake May. Not only is he a 4-star quarterback, a borderline 5-star quarterback, but he's a legacy kid. He's an in-state kid, and those guys tend to get more of the benefit of the doubt and tons of talent. So North Carolina is just not a very appealing place if you want to play quarterback pretty quickly.
It'd be interesting to see where Stockton goes. He could follow where Bobo or Connor Shaw go, and they're both still on the staff at South Carolina. Who knows if they're retained as well? So it's certainly something to follow there. All right, quickly, Don, update on Bryson Nesbitt, who remains UNC's top tight end target. What's going on there?
Yeah, so Bryson is taking his time, which kind of seems kind of crazy considering, but he's just a laid-back kid. He's not really in a huge rush because the schools that he's looking at will wait for him. He's his final 5: North Carolina, South Carolina, UCLA. Those are really the main ones, and then Virginia Tech and Ole Miss are in there also. In that final 5, but I would imagine all 5, but at least those top 3 will wait for him until the very end. So there's no rush, and he doesn't have a personality that is in any sort of rush. But as far as South Carolina in this coaching change, how this relates, I actually think if you wanted Bryson Nesbitt to end up at North Carolina, which I'm assuming most people who are listening to this do, then the chances to me are greater that he ends up in North Carolina with Muschamp still as head coach than with a new head coach. And the reason I say that is that, from my understanding, talking to a lot of people close to Nesbitt, he didn't really care for the environment at South Carolina when he's visited there recently. He didn't feel like he fit. And obviously a big part of that is who the head coach is. I'm not trying to dog Muschamp or what he's doing or anything. It's just sometimes it doesn't fit. So obviously a new head coach is going to bring in a new culture, change things up, that sort of thing, or you would assume so. The other thing is that Nesbitt's parents, both of them, were athletes at South Carolina. So if anybody is going to kind of buy into, a vision of this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it and all this sort of stuff, it's alums. Mm-hmm. So with all that said, I still feel like North Carolina has way too much momentum, way too much going for it with Nesbitt for him to end up at South Carolina. I still think he ends up at North Carolina. Whoa. But it would not surprise me if, they just say, you know what, I want to be a part of what this new coach is bringing. So let me go to where I'm a legacy.
You should make a crystal ball pick for him to UNC, Don.
If I did those sort of things, I would.
Sad state when we're not allowed to make crystal ball picks. You don't make them either. All right, Bryson Nesbitt, 6'6", 235-pound tight end from South Mecklenburg High School in Charlotte, North Carolina. Number 386 nationally, 17th ranked tight end, number 22 player in the state. Okay, that concludes our football recruiting talk.
Do you want to go into the dead period?
Just give us a line or two on that.
Yeah, all right. So by the time you listen to this, it's probably going to be official. The dead period will be extended to April 15th, which means recruits can't take visits or can't take recruiting visits where you actually interact with the coaches on campus and tour the facilities, and also means that coaches cannot come out and watch recruits in person to evaluate them. And we've been stuck in this dead period since March. which essentially means if you're a 21 recruit and you need to see a school, you're going to have to do it on your own dime, and you're going to have to basically kind of set it up with the admissions department at the school, just like a normal student would do. So it's not like this crazy idea. But it does kind of, I think, well, for North Carolina's purposes, it's going to cause a lot more problems with the 22 class because the 21 class is basically kind of, concluded for the most part, other than Bryson Nesbitt, maybe George Wilson. I go into detail about this in the Weekly Scoop, so check that out for more details because Ross is just chomping at the bit to get at this top 5.
Yeah, well, where do you stand? Do you think they should open things up and make it open and get loose with it?
This feels like it's going to be a political thing that you want me to get into and have more Twitter hate. But
where do you stand on opening things up and mask wearing?
So for the actual season, for the football season, I get it. Because the last thing you want to do, and especially now where we have like so many freaking games being canceled or postponed and everything, the last thing you want to do is have people from around the country come onto your campus and interact with staff members who might ultimately, or interact with coaches or whatever. I think, although I don't know, I think that the April 15th deadline is to kind of help the basketball programs, which you might say, whoa, why would you put the football programs at a disadvantage? Maybe it's just kind of like a blanket thing they want to do, or maybe because they want to make sure they have some sort of spring practices or whatever. I don't know. But and not have to deal with all that. But I mean, not to get political, but if you look at the numbers and if you watch the news at all, I mean, it's not looking good. So to me, I kind of expected it in a way, and
Yeah. Where do you stand though?
Where do I stand? I was definitely in the beginning, didn't want to wear a mask, hated the mask idea and everything. And then I wore the mask because I had to and got used to it. It sucks. I hate it, especially when I'm at a camp and I'm required to wear one and it's hot. It only makes you hotter wearing a mask. Now I'm at the point where I go to the grocery store and I see some dumbass without a mask. I'm like, why don't you have a damn mask on? I mean, it's not that hard to do. And then you have these people, oh, my constitutional right. Well, it doesn't say in the Constitution you have to wear pants. But if I went to a grocery store without pants on, I'm going to be arrested.
Here we go.
So, but anyway.
Last question.
Just wear your mask.
Last question. Who'd you vote for?
as my Twitter followers.
Just
what about you? Where are you at on this?
Whatever's best for the safety and security of our country. All right,
don't play coy. We need to get a stance. Ross, do you wear a mask? Are you a mask wearer?
I am 100% mask wearer.
It
should not be a political issue. It's for the safety of everybody around you.
All right, I'm with you.
There you go. And I'm Ross Martin, running for mayor. All right, let's get into it. Top 5. We got to close this podcast up. Some good topics, some energetic discussions here. We asked you to submit your top 5 90s comedies. I'm a child of the 90s. Don's a child of the early 90s. When did you graduate high school?
99.
Okay, yeah. So you're middle school, high school, all in the 90s. I graduated in 2004, but growing up, elementary school, middle school, all in the 90s there. So let's get into it. All right, Don. We'll read a couple here, maybe 3 each. And how many submissions do we have?
Well, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So
we'll read them all.
2. All right, that sounds good.
And remember, the next top 5, we're going to be doing these podcasts now every other week per IC regulations. We'll be releasing some sort of podcast.
We got in trouble.
Every other week. And then we'll do breaking news too if there happens to be a commitment or something. And holidays maybe something different. But every other week. The next top 5 is top 5 animals. Explain why. And you can send it to Don on Inside Carolina via Don's Twitter DM, or you can also email to Don at don@insidecarolina.com.
Yes.
Okay, let's get into it. You go first.
All right, let me go with Noah in Korea. Number 5, Groundhog Day. Number 4, Ace Ventura. Number 3, Office Space. Number 2, Tommy Boy. And number 1, Dumb and Dumber.
Okay, all good picks. Groundhog Day, I'm not like a fan of Groundhog Day. I'm sure it's a great movie, but that was a little earlier too. That must have been early 90s.
So you never seen it?
I've seen it, and it's good, I guess, but it's not like,
I feel like it's
I'm not like, damn, I got to watch Groundhog Day.
It's kind of annoying, but then it's kind of like, almost kind of like part of my life some weird way.
Yeah, I love Bill Murray though. All right, I'll go Ding Dong from Orange County, California. One of our favorite listeners, Ding Dong. 5, American Pie. 4, Groundhog Day. Dang. 3, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, which I think is the first Austin Powers. 2, Jack, which is, I think, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And then
I don't think I've ever seen that.
My Cousin Vinny's number 1.
All right, I'll go with Ryan from Chapel Hill. He doesn't have an order, it appears, but Dumb and Dumber, the only movie where I actually had to leave the room because I was laughing so hard and may or may not have peed myself. Galaxy Quest, an all-star cast with sharp satire that's appropriate for the whole family. I cry with laughter. Toy Story, the original Pixar masterpiece. The Big Lebowski catapulted Jeff Bridges into stardom, but solidified John Goodman as one of the funniest and most reliable comedians in the business. What about Bob? A hilarious film about the lovable but annoying person in all of our lives. We can relate to this film. So I watched Big Lebowski for the first time a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
And
you probably didn't get it.
I mean, I got it. I feel like it might be one of those movies you got to watch a couple times and kind of like,
yeah, I mean, it's a different type of comedy. I mean, it's definitely like a weirder, different type of movie. But it's definitely got some great characters. All right, I'll do Dale from Wax.
Read the last one. Do the last one. I'll do Dale.
All right, Laturd from Pluto. Again, that's Laturd from Pluto. Sounds like he's maybe French. All right, 5. Okay, so first he says, this list is from when I originally watched, not with 20 to 30 years of hindsight. 5, Major Pain, military brat growing up, so this one will always stick with me. 4, Friday, great high school comedy for all my friends. 3, Waterboy, maybe not the Sandler movie everyone else would pick, but I watched it recently and it could still quote the whole thing. 2, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. Your gun is digging into my hip, went over my head as a kid. I think that's a penis reference, Don. And 1, Dumb and Dumber. Thinking about it makes me laugh as I write this. And he went honorable mention, Big Lebowski. He was too young to realize how funny it is. Maybe I need to go back and watch Big Lebowski. All right, go ahead. Last one.
All right. Did you like Big Lebowski?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good movie. I'm not like some people are really into it.
Yes.
And I'm not sure.
Well, that's why. Yeah. So that's what my expectation was.
Yeah.
So I think
different.
my problem was I went into it like really high expectations and it fell short.
It's kind of subtle. I think it's kind of a subtle humor.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
And I like the dark and weird, but it just didn't hit it for me.
Yeah, it might be a little too intellectual for you too.
Yeah,
right,
maybe. All right, Dale and Waxhall. Number 5, American Pie. Number 4, Office Space. Number 3, The Big Lebowski. Number 2, Tommy Boy. And number 1, Dumb and Dumber. A lot of the same movies, which is surprising.
That list's gonna read a lot like mine. Go ahead.
All right, so
You're right. A lot of the same movies. Yeah, go ahead with your thought. I don't want to interrupt.
Okay, all right. When I was doing this, it was difficult. I mean, I could easily name 20 without problem, and 10 I'm super comfortable with. And I really I deleted a couple of movies. I'm like, oh my god, I can't. Who do I delete, sort of thing. So there's ones I'm not happy with deleting. So do you want to go through your list, my list, or do you want to go every other?
You go ahead.
So a couple of the movies I did not include. I will mention Waterboy.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
Oh God.
Give me your 5. Don't give us. Honorable mention is essentially making a top 10 list or whatever.
All right. So number 5 for me, Something About Mary. Love Ben Stiller. That whole movie. Brett Favre's in it.
That's a great movie.
Pork and beans. All right. Number 4.
Pork and beans.
Number 4, Austin Powers, which I'm surprised wasn't mentioned. I feel like it's a little underrated, probably because we have so many. They did what? Like, how many of them they ended up doing? Like 5 or 6?
Maybe just 3 or 4. Yeah.
A lot of subtle things in there. I mean, it's funny. There's unsubtle things and there's subtle things that are funny with it. I always love the chest hair thing. Reminds me of Ross. Number 3, American Pie. Which for me, as if you were listening earlier, which I'm assuming you were, I graduated in 99. This came out in 99. I can remember very vividly. I had a group of friends and we all watched this movie and we came away thinking, oh my God, this is us, sort of thing. So I'm not going to go into detail why that is, but yeah, so that's, I guess, more sentimental than anything else. Loved Office Space. which is one of those like subtle, sort of strange movies you mentioned, and it made a lot of sense. I didn't like get into this in the movie theater sort of thing. I'm not a movie theater person anyway. But once it came to back, well, I guess that might have been VHS. Still, Office Space was awesome.
Mhm.
I've watched it 100 times. What would you do if $1,000,000, two chicks at the same time?
Jeez.
Beep. Anyway, number one, Dumb and Dumber. So for me, when I first watched Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber, I would have told you that Ace Ventura was my favorite, because he talked about with Dumb and Dumber, I can't remember who it was, how you laugh, peed yourself sort of thing. That was me, Ace Ventura, literally peed myself watching it. But I felt like Ace Ventura didn't have the staying power. Like once you watched it and you weren't like caught off guard by some of the jokes or whatever. And this was Jim Carrey's first like real movie or breakout movie or whatever.
Yeah.
But Dumb and Dumber has a staying power and has tons of quotable things and tons of. I mean, it's just it's an absolute classic. So yeah, which is I'm sure the reason why I think almost is it on every list, almost every.
So wait, go through your top 5 straight through 5 through 1.
Okay, 5 through 1 or 1 through 5.
Just 5 to 1.
Okay, Something About Mary.
Okay.
Austin Powers, American Pie, Office Space, Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, I mean all those are on my list. We have very similar lists.
Really?
Yeah, I mean.
Do you have Something About Mary?
No, but it's in there. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't write down, but I mean, it's definitely I consider it. I mean, I'm actually kind of putting it together right now. Kind of struggling with what I should put in there for my Adam Sandler movies. I'm just gonna kind of put both.
That was the thing too. Was I struggled with Waterboy and Happy Gilmore, which I wasn't allowed to give as honorable mention. But I mean, I love both of those movies.
Yeah, and look, I think Big Daddy's underrated. I think Big Daddy's a great
Big Daddy's
movie.
good.
I mean, it's got a good storyline. Like it's more.
Yeah.
A lot of Adam Sandler movies have good storylines too, where they kind of, like a Wedding Singer. Like it's a good emotional storyline. So
yeah.
All right, so I will start. I'm gonna go 5 Half Baked.
Okay.
When you're in high school. Those things are pretty funny, especially in college and stuff. So Half Baked, I don't think many people listed that one. It's a great movie. I think it.
Could you relate to what the things that happened on there?
Like just living in New York. No, I've never lived in New York. 4 Office Space, great movie. I mean, quotable, love it. I mean, everyone loves Office Space. It's just it's a great movie, great lines and relatable, I think too. Okay, so then I'll go my Adam Sandler movies. So I have Happy Gilmore, Waterboy, Big Daddy, Wedding Singer. It's hard to pick. I think Big Daddy and Wedding Singer are more.
Dude, this turns into a top 10, not a top 5 now.
I'll go Waterboy.
Okay.
I think Waterboy's a class. Happy Gilmore's great too. So one of those, and then 2 American Pie. I love American Pie. The quintessential kind of like high school teen movies where it's just based around kind of your friends in high school and like different stuff. I think it's a great movie. I mean, American Pie.
But there's a lot of movies that were like that, but they may have like 2 or 3 like funny spots, but I felt like American Pie had like a gazillion of them.
Yeah, I mean, it was a huge hit. And there's a lot of those high school movies in the 80s too that kind of the quintessential high school movies. And number 1 is far and away maybe my favorite movie ever.
Really?
Can you guess it?
Dumb and Dumber?
Correct. Love it. Watched it.
Really? That's your favorite movie ever?
I mean, comedy for sure. It's up there. I mean, quote everything, great scenes. I mean, Jim Carrey is awesome. I mean, Jim Carrey is probably one of the best comedian actors out there. Physical comedy. I mean,
yeah, I just feel like though he was good for what, I don't know, like 10 years and that was it. Like I know he's still
back, doing stuff. He's still doing.
Well, he just came back with Saturday Night Live so he could do Biden.
Yeah, well, look,
not to get political.
The Mask is a great movie. We forgot The Mask.
Yeah, but even though that's a comedy, I feel like The Mask is more
action.
Than yeah.
Cable Guy, Liar is pretty good. The Grinch, Man on the Moon, Truman Show. He got serious with some of these.
Yeah.
Me, Myself, and Irene.
Me, Myself, and Irene is actually underrated too.
Bruce Almighty was a big movie, 2003.
That one was surprisingly like sad. Well, no. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of No, I think of a completely different movie.
Okay.
I'm thinking of Click, which is Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Adam Sandler got serious too. We all develop and grow as we get older, Don, and some things you have to branch out from.
That's right.
All right. I think that's it for us, guys. Good top 5. Good interview with Keeshawn. Some good intel there on some of the stats of different recruits. Again, we're going to do this every 2 weeks, I think, for the foreseeable future. So look for the scoop in your podcast feed. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. I think we're going to start up a Q&A as well. I have a little plan for that. So we'll do a Don kind of Q&A off-topic thing that we'll get into. I've been listening to the Cover 3 podcast, and they do some stuff with that, which is a good way to get people to review the podcasts. So we appreciate you listening. Remember to check out Giant T-Shirt and gianttshirt.com, and we appreciate you listening.